This is Seven Dooms for Sandpoint, Chapter 2, Strange Times in Sandpoint, Episode 22. Following your successful spirit call ritual, or rather Father Xantus and Odrani's successful spirit call ritual, the word got around town. Word has been getting around town. Millie did a wonderful job starting a whisper campaign prior to the actual night of the ritual against Karn Scarnetti that kind of crippled his. Sorry, that's not what I wanted to say. Hamstrung is the word I wanted. Hamstrung his efforts to raise a large crowd against you. But definitely word has gotten around town about what was happening at the cathedral that night, last night. And quite a few people were unhappy about it. Enough so that you found out after breakfast, after bidding Odrani farewell, and sitting at breakfast with Father Xantus, a runner from the town hall was dispatched to summon you all this evening at 7 p.m. to the town hall to stand before the town council. You did a few things around town. There was a little bit of researching and other things done throughout the day. But ultimately, we ended with you all entering into the town hall and standing before the town council. And kind of like, in a way, when you watch a TV show and they start the next episode, you see a little bit of the last episode. I will...
Previously on Seven Dooms for Sandpoint.
I'll give you sort of that same intro scene to set the scene into the town council meeting. And I will let you know, as a reminder, that as you walk in, the town council in our Sandpoint is Mayor Kendra Deverin, Kay Tesserani, Titus Scarnetti, Brodert Quink, Jubrail Visky, Abstelar Xantus, and Jasper Korvaski.
Can you copy paste that into the chat there, bud?
Remind me after the game. It's in a
Okay.
format that won't go into the chat very well. It's in a table.
Okay.
You all entered into the town council with much of the crowd in this space, or rather much of the town crowding into this space. The council sits at a long table at the head of the room. All of the seats in the room are filled. There's standing room. There's also a balcony, a mezzanine level that's filled with people. And you were all directed to sit off to the right of the crowd, sort of, I guess, stage left, but off to the right to wait your turn. You can't help but notice that where you have been seated, that basically everybody has a clear line of sight to see you. As you sit in this tall vaulted chamber that is Sandpoint's town hall, the air is thick with tension and sweat. Wooden benches groan under the weight of a packed house. Dozens and dozens of town folk sit shoulder to shoulder, murmuring to each other in low tones. You catch glimpses of familiar faces, their eyes flicking to you and your companions. Some of them nod to you respectfully, others stare tight-lipped and wary. A couple, occasionally, if they meet your gaze, will turn away, unable to hold your gaze. Karn Scarnetti leans against a column at the back of the chamber, flanked by a half dozen or more of his own supporters, all grim-faced and clearly ready to stir the pot.
I bumped him on the way in.
You did.
I'm still very proud of that. Can you
yes,
tell?
on the way in, you bumped Karn Scarnetti. He was eyeballing somebody, and one of you, and smirking, and then you kind of bumped into him and almost made him fall over. He leans now, arms crossed against the pillar. You hear the heavy gavel of Mayor Kindred Devrin strike the oaken table at the head of the room, cutting through the noise with a crack. This meeting is now in session. There is one item on today's agenda, a matter of grave concern to the town of Sandpoint. Councilman Abstelar Xantis has admitted to conducting a ritual to contact the spirit of Nualia Tobin. The crowd, you hear murmurs of affirmation, and maybe the half a dozen people that didn't actually know. As the noise rises a little bit, and then you hear the gavel strike again. Yes, that Nualia. The same one responsible for leading goblins against us during the horrific raids 17 years ago. People begin to shift uneasily in their seats. She continues. I remind you all that Nualia's burial here in Sandpoint was not a decision made lightly. It was debated at length and done with the counsel of the heroes who stood against her. And though it left a scar on our town, it was meant to bring peace to the town and to her soul. I would like all of you to make a perception check, please.
Awesome. Oof. 29.
23.
Natalin?
18.
Moa?
19, since everyone's saying it out loud.
Moa and Velynia. You notice Mayor Devrin's jaws clenched ever so slightly, her eyes scanning the chamber. You detect a note of bitterness. She's had enough of second guessing. She's fed up with the gossiping in the town. You can come to the conclusion that she did not want to have this meeting, but she's doing it because she knows it's the only way to set the record straight.
Okay.
She turns to Father Xantis, where he sits in his council seat. Councilman Xantis, please explain yourself. Abstelar Xantis rises from his seat, his robes rustling softly. He clasps his hands before him. He looks around the room, smiling lightly. He turns and looks at all of you, looks at each of you, smiling in turn. And then he looks at Lumi and smiles just a little bit brighter, gives her a wink before speaking, his voice even and composed. I did what I believed was necessary, he begins. The veil grows thin, and the omens are clear. I sought only wisdom to ensure Sandpoint remains safe from threats not yet seen. From the back of the room, somebody yells out, "You called the devil back from the grave!"
Okay. Kendra needs to get her people under control. Yeah.
The gavel.
Order!
A few smatters of laughter, but Abstelar does not react to any of this. The details of the ritual are not for public display. But know this. Nualia's spirit showed remorse. She did not threaten us. She warned us. There are others who may yet pose danger to Sandpoint. She gave us names, shadows of what might come. More murmurs flow throughout the crowd, but nobody heckles. I thank these brave souls here, as he gestures to all of you, for standing with me during the ritual. Their presence was essential. Without them, I fear something might have gone terribly wrong. He hesitates, or rather pauses, turns to Mayor Deverin, nods slightly. She nods back at him and he takes his seat. Very well. I would now like to hear from them directly. You hear the rustling of the crowd. You see as all eyes turn to you. You, Lumi, speak. Tell us what happened last night at the cathedral. You see Lumi look around. Nervously. She stands up, and you see a few people kind of shifting in their seats to try to get a good look at her. She addresses the crowd, not the council.
Oh.
I know you're all a little upset. I get it. It was weird. A little scary too, but it wasn't bad. Just listen. Father was doing this for the best of us. It may have been before my time, but I know Nualia did awful things. No one is saying she didn't. She hurt people. A lot of people. She hurt this whole town. But maybe that's exactly why she should be heard out. She used to be one of us. Someone who lived here. Loved Sandpoint. Called it home. She was a cathedral child, just like me. Taken in and raised as one of you. Maybe when someone does so much, turns to doing such awful things fueled by spite and scorn, maybe it's worth finding out why. It doesn't mean letting go of what happened, but it does mean learning the truth. not rumors, not stories passed down from 17 years ago. Father didn't do this for power or to curse Sandpoint or something. He did it because he cares about Sandpoint, about all of us. Even her. Or at least the her before she got changed into what she was. He cares about making sure this never happens again. If we don't confront the past, understand it, make amends for it, then we'll be inviting tragedy when it comes again. We'll be blind to it, dooming ourselves all over again. We won't be able to stop it before it strikes at us. That's why it needed to be done. Please don't punish him for trying to protect you, me, all of us. She turns and looks at Father Xanthus, smiles. He's smiling brightly back at her, and she very quickly sits down. And Lumi made a diplomacy check, and it was successful.
Hey, nice. Hell yeah.
So,
Side note, real quick, can we
Excuse
just
me.
give a brief round of applause for Jake's Vi impression? It was really top notch. It was really top notch.
Mayor Deverin looks at Lumi and says, "Thank you very much. Who will we hear from next?" As she turns to your group. You're all going to have to speak, so somebody might as well step forward.
I think Velynia this whole time has been kind of like has been sitting and listening, but at the same time you guys, because you probably know her a little bit better, would see that she seems like a little like uneasy in her seat almost. Like just a little fidgety and seems uncomfortable when there's no real reason to feel uncomfortable. And I think when she says, "Well, some of you's finally gonna," whatever, cajoling, I think Velynia just like stands up and be like, "Fine, I'll go next." And I stand up and I'm like, to be honest, I don't really understand much of the ins and outs magically about what happened. And I'm new to this town, so I don't really know what you want to know. And I didn't really prepare a speech. And I look over at Lumi, kind of like just my eyes dart over to Lumi when I say that. So what do you want to know? I'm happy to answer what I can.
I just want your accounting, from your own words, of what took place during this ritual.
Well, we all, Odrani and Father Xanthus were actually doing the ritual. I stayed behind with Moa, and Natalin was with us too, right? I stayed behind with Moa and Natalin to kind of be the muscle, more or less, just in case anything happened that was unexpected. And Millie and Lumi went out when certain uninvited parties tried to insert themselves, and I don't look back all the way, but I kind of like turn my chin over my shoulder just a little bit so everybody knows that I know the specific person I'm talking about. And I said, and from everything I can tell, the ritual went as planned. Nualia was summoned. She was forgiven. She vanished. And that was it. Like I said, I'm not very well versed in all the magical ins and outs. So from my perception, that's all I can say.
When you stop speaking, the entire crowd sort of shifts and looks back to the council. There's a moment where the mayor, there's just this little extra long pause where the mayor is going to you can tell she's about to call on somebody else, but one of the other council members speaks up.
And real quick, I would say, like, Natalin, Moa, Millie, and Lumi would probably notice, especially in this, like, dead space, like, where the crowd is murmuring and, like, just kind of there's just dead air. Velynia looks particularly nervous. Like, you've never seen Velynia look nervous in particular. She looks very nervous. Disproportionately so.
Jabrail Visky says, "Oh, hold on a moment, Mayor. I think we're narrowing the conversation down just a little too much." Jabrail Visky, as many of you might know, runs the Feed Bag, a restaurant in town. Dark-haired, kind of roguishly handsome.
Hot.
He says, and pardon me, Velynia, I believe it is. I don't mean this to be pointed directly at you, but I would like to also hear of some accounting of your activities prior to the ritual as well with the cathedral. As I am given to understand, you cannot simply perform a ritual like that without having something that belonged to the spirit you are attempting to summon. So, how is it you came by whatever it may be that was used in this ritual?
That's very astute. Me and my party here did undertake an expedition to travel under Sandpoint, and we did attain an artifact of Noalia's. We brought it back to the surface, and that is what was used in the ritual. And Velynia is intentionally skirting around what the artifact was.
So, forgive my ignorance, as I understand it, 17 years ago it was discovered that the goblins had warrens that went all over under Sandpoint. Was it in these old goblin tunnels that you went, or was it somewhere more specific that you were digging?
It was near the goblin tunnels. In fact, we encountered a few of them while we were down there. But it was not in the goblin tunnels per se.
I'm sorry, you encountered goblins?
Yes.
Within the boundaries of Sandpoint, below it? Actual living goblins? In Sandpoint? The crowd begins to murmur.
I can assure you there are no goblins in Sandpoint anymore.
Are you saying you dispatched them?
And just there's like this quickest glance over to Natalin. And I would just say, we did.
I would like you to make... This is not your main check. But right now, I need you to make me a deception check.
Hi. 18.
Okay. Well, it seems perhaps Father Xantus has put his trust on the right people then. And he kind of ends his line of questioning. I will ask you to make... you weren't really intimidating anybody.
I told the truth. I didn't.
You told the truth,
Yeah.
you skated around it, so I will allow a diplomacy check.
Okay. Fun fact: deception and diplomacy are the same for me, so it really doesn't matter.
But you will be
I'm
doing
choosing to be
so at a -1 circumstance bonus.
honest. Why?
As will the rest of you, because you failed
Oh.
in your attempt to deceive Jubrail Visky.
Fuck. Oh, God damn it! I'm sorry, everybody. Okay. That's a 22 diplomacy.
With your -1?
21 diplomacy. Sorry, very short-term memory.
That is a success.
Yes, fuck yes, dude. Let's go. Oh my god.
Mayor Deverin looks up and down the council, and nobody seems wanting to speak up anymore at this point, and so she looks to the rest of you, Natalin, Millie, and Moa.
Velynia kind of hurriedly sits down, and you guys notice she's like wringing her hands, it looks like, but I don't know if you look too much closer.
Millie pats your hands.
And Velynia settles down pretty quickly and significantly.
Oh, well, no time like the present. And Millie stands up and she kind of dusts like she's dusting, like she does when she dusts flour off of her apron, but it's a clean apron.
It's just a habit.
Yep.
That is adorable. Awesome.
So, what would you like to know about? What Lumi and I were doing during the ritual?
Well, as it is, we don't have any particulars other than your own testimony. And as
All right. So,
Councilman
I think it's
Visky
important-
has made it clear, it is not just necessarily pertaining to the ritual itself, but your activities over the past week or so.
Of course. So, I think it's important to clarify, because Father Xantus forgot to add it in when he was talking about what he was doing. I think it's important to clarify that a very elaborate cleansing, a consecration, is that the right word, was done beforehand to make sure that all of the area around where the ritual was taking place would remain safe.
I like
As
to
it
imagine
did.
Millie knows damn well what the word is, but she's really playing up the oh gosh, oh jeez. Just for the sake of the crowd. This is beautiful, dude.
That was literally Tamiko not remembering the
Okay.
word.
You nailed it. This is perfect. This is perfect. I love it.
And well, I will add to what Velynia said that in the days leading up, none of us were too keen on the idea at first, but Father Xantus wanted us to retrieve an artifact from the casket, and it was at that point that we discovered that Nualia's casket had been burrowed into by the aforementioned goblins.
Gablins.
Gablins.
Gablins. Dude, you're so in it, though. It's perfect. You're Margie.
Once we followed those burrow holes down, well, we found that those goblins had been doing a lot of digging and scratching around, There were a few of them that we encountered at first. We took care of them in short order, and then we found the artifacts that we were looking for. Probably something that was important to Nualia.
I'm sorry to interject again, Jabrelvisky, but if I'm understanding what you said, Miss Millie, you were first seeking to gain something from Nualia's casket in the boneyard.
Right, we needed to have something personal of hers.
So you dug up her grave?
Well, that's where we would have found it. And that's when we discovered that there were goblins under the city. So 6 of one, half a dozen of another. It all worked out for the best.
I'm going to have you do whatever it is you do when you make an impression.
Dude, yes.
I forget what that roll is, but
the 17 on the die, which means it's a 30.
Okay.
Oh God, Mama
So
Millie!
you
Everybody's
handle-
so charmed
you
by
handle it in such a way that you will not get another -1 circumstance penalty.
It's a 29. Sorry, I
'Cause of the
forgot. I
-1.
also forgot to subtract.
That's fine. This prevents you from taking another negative for bringing up the perceived desecration of the grave.
Awesome.
Oh, and let me tell you, I also am not from here. You all know me. Well, most of you do. And you know I came from Magnamar, and I actually was here back during that great unpleasantness, helping out with the aftermath of the fires and whatnot when I was a younger lass. But I will say that once the ritual started and Father Xantis and his lady pal started talking, communicating with her, one of the things that struck me immediately was that at first the spirit seemed very upsetty spaghetti, very angry, high-tempered, if you will, but that was only at the beginning, and then she just became a sad little girl. And it was actually a little heartbreaking to behold. And if it helps anyone here, her soul is not at rest.
I need you to make a diplomacy check. This is with a -1 from the original -1.
That's a 16 on the die, which makes that with a -1, 28? 20.
Dude, fuck man.
Okay.
Killing it, dude. MVP.
That
The M
is
stands for Millie.
a success. So far, you're 3 for 3.
Oh my god. Woohoo, dude!
Way to put the pressure on us.
As
Welcome.
as
Rising
Millie
tide, all ships.
sits down,
Oh, wait, did I get my +3 for the Carnetti thing? No, because I'm dealing with the council, not Karn directly. Never mind.
as Millie sits down, the council shifts their gaze to Natalin and Moa.
Natalin nervously looks at the rest of the party, especially like those who have gone already, it's kind of wringing her hands a little bit, and she'll stand up and kind of move out so where she can see everybody. And she is very nervous. This whole talking in front of people thing, she's just she doesn't like. She usually likes to just be quiet in the corner, just living her life. And so she looks nervously around, and then she can't really like maintain eye contact with the council, so she just starts talking. I what everybody else has said is really, I mean, I don't have much to offer in new things. Like everything they've said so far has been very true, and that is what I remember as well. And I'm not sure. And I think at this point she does kind of look up, but she looks up into the crowd and she sees these two women, probably not much older than she is herself. And they're like pointing fingers, and they're like kind of hush hush, secret behind hands, and then like pointing at her. And Natalin just, the rest of you just kind of see her she goes stiff, and all of a sudden I imagine like there's some sort of like bar or something in front of her, like some sort of wooden railing or whatever, and all of a sudden her hand comes down and she slams it on the bar. This loud boom. I cannot stay silent any further. I have been living this my entire life. Rasan, Talon, you know better than that. You have treated everybody in this town needs to learn. Nobody is learning from anything in here. You shun those who you don't understand, who aren't the same as you, who are a little bit unnormal. I spent my entire life being shunned. I've had you, expressly you, Talon, walk across the street when I approach because you don't want to catch whatever unfortunateness I happen to have on me. This is how you treat everybody. This town needs to learn to be better than that. Yes, I am she. My father was killed by Chopper. And what of it? I have never been allowed to speak his name, to mourn him. We had to push it under the rug. That event changed my entire life. It changed my mother's life, and we couldn't say anything about it because of the great unpleasantness. And the great unpleasantness! What the hell kind of name is that? Is that coming out? Something wrong at a tea party? There was nothing so mundane about that. It was a horrible time. And if we don't think about those things, we will continue to make the same mistakes. And that is what you did for years. You shunned everyone. I mean, even 13 years ago, when that poor little egg came into town, you started a riot because Father Xanthus wanted to save the egg, and you didn't want that. You were calling, saying what a ferocious beast it would be, and it needed to be ended now. Look at her. Yes, she's fierce. Yes, she's strong. Yes, she is probably more capable than most of you in this room. But she is also the kindest, sweetest, most loyal being. And I call her my friend. And you would have ended that. Father Xanthus just did what he needed to do to protect a creature. Like he would protect all of us creatures in this town he loves so much. And Noalia, the poor sot, you think all of this is bad? You were horrendous to her. You treated her worse than anything I have ever seen. And when that, even those of you who didn't treat her bad, didn't shun her. You did what was almost even worse. You treated her like an object for your own benefit. And when that poor girl was at her lowest, when she needed a friend, somebody to count on, there was nobody there for her. Of course she turned. The evil goddess saw a hole, snuck right into it. Father Xanthus is just trying to undo some of the damage that was done that day by bringing her spirit, try to bring her some peace. And frankly, I mean, I think he's one of the best of us.
Millie turns to you and under her breath she goes, "Oh, hot damn."
I think it
Check
goes.
off Millie swears for real on the on the bingo card.
I think it goes without saying, Natalin. I would like you to roll intimidation.
Yeah. I say she gets to roll intimidation and diplomacy and take the better of the two. That was a fucking speech.
Okay. Carrie's
in
over
the
here trying to
chat,
make up rules.
Intimidiplomacy.
I'm sorry. Even our new friend Jeff suggests diplomacy.
So you'll notice I didn't make her roll to see because she mentioned some of the things she dredged up specific memories of the past. Typically, I would make you roll to see if you're going to get another negative for that. But as a way of sort of an inspiration, so to speak, you've bypassed that need.
Wow.
You're going to you still get the -1 that for Velynia mentioning the goblins, but
Sorry. I felt like it would come up sooner or later.
So, if you believe it, I rolled a 20 on a die.
a natural 20.
The dice
So-
don't lie. The dice gods are rewarding your speech.
So it would have been a total of 33, but with the -1 is a 32.
I'm just double checking my.
Bro. Fucking forget about it. Let's go, dude.
Okay. So that is a critical success, which doesn't really necessarily have a specific. This isn't a subsystem, so it doesn't have it like a specific thing. But what I'm gonna say is, combined with the RP there, I'm gonna count that as a double success. Meaning that if
Moa, you can't fuck this up if you tried.
It's Moa. He can because it's his fault.
meaning that if Moa fails,
Oh god.
it will still count as all of you succeeding. The only way Moa can screw this up for you guys is if he critically fails.
Don't
Um,
look like
Challenge
that.
accepted.
Don't put it out in the
Like
universe.
that, man.
I
Don't.
gotta put it out there because I mean,
Gotta
you guys
know
are sitting
score.
pretty good right now. You've technically got 5 successes, and there's still one person to go. So,
You got a knockout punch throw in the first round. Let's go.
what were the 2 women that you addressed? Do you remember the names you gave them?
Talon was one.
Chrisanne and Talon.
You might have to give me those names, but I can tell you this: after your little outburst at everybody, not only are the 2 of them no longer smiling and talking behind their hands and pointing, a couple of people have moved away from them. And there's actually people that are now kind of pointing and saying things about them up in the balcony. Because you called them out by name. So Moa.
Hell yeah.
So after Natalin sits down, Moa pauses for a second, kind of looks down, and he's wearing a cloak, and his hand is underneath the cloak, and he's been in the background, like trying not to be kind of hiding, but hiding in the crowd of the group and trying to not make his presence very known. But the spotlight's there. But so after Natalin sits down, he takes a moment, pauses, drops his head for a second, and then stands up as if he's weak, as if he's kind of struggling to stand up for a second, and undoes the cloak, and you see what he's been hiding under the cloak is his left arm is completely wrapped in bandages.
Ooh.
And he kind of stands, he looks over at the crowd. And he looks at Scarnetti for a second. And then looks over at the council. And with his hand kind of in a sling onto him, he's like, I don't know what much more I can add to what my comrades have said and shared. Their sentiments are aligned in that way. But I have a question, dear councilmen and women. Why are we here? Who or what is the purpose of this fact-finding display for the city or the town to see? Wouldn't this be done by simply asking us? Why a public forum? As he's looking at the council people.
Mayor Kendra, for a moment, seemed surprised that you would dare ask the council a question in this forum where you are being asked to testify, but I thought it best to have this in the public forum because, quite frankly, this was a court case that was being tried in the streets. Your reputations, the reputations of Father Xantus, the reputations of this town were being spoken about, and she glances up to the two that Natalin singled out. Behind people's hands, behind closed doors, and it was spilling out into the streets. And I figured, what better way than to, once and for all, put an end to these rumors than to hear it straight from those involved.
Thank you.
So while I appreciate your questioning the motivations behind it, trust that I and the council have Sandpoint's best interest at heart.
I do believe that, and I thank you for this the opportunity to share our knowledge to the public, which is, I guess, the root of the issue at hand. Again, as my colleague and friend just elegantly spoke, that people are talking in the streets. Rumor mills are running amok. People are stirring the pot. And it's causing issues amongst everyone. And isn't it the same group of people stirring the pot? There's one thing that I think that should be added so everyone in town knows what happened. There's one element that I can speak of. Everyone has said is the truth. It was a ritual to bring closure. The benefits outweighed any possible harm that would foreseen to Sandpoint. And Father Xantos took extraordinary lengths to ensure the safety of the town and everyone in it by inviting us to assist this group, to assist in these proceedings to help protect the town. Most of you know I'm not the first person to jump up and do things, and most of you are talking about the bottle in my hand the other night. I don't care. But I have some skills which some of you know and can contest to, positively or negatively, as he looks at Councilman Jewel, and then looks back over at Scarnetti. The real issue I have about all of this, we did our job to protect the town, and now we are being crucified, put on warning. We did the best we could, depending on the circumstances. And do you want to know something? It would have gone a lot smoother. It went smooth, but it could have been a lot better if certain people never interfered. We had to split our party because we had to deal with the Scarnetti gang imposing problems during the ritual.
Hear, hear.
Because of the rumor mongering, the Scarnetti blasphemy, and prejudice that the long history of Scarnettis everyone knows about in this town, all the ancestors have caused problems to this town, including the newest one. If for not him, and I'm pointing directly at Cirrus Scarnetti.
At who?
In the, what's his name again? Is it
Titus?
Not Titus.
No, the
Titus is the one,
boy.
the boy, Karn?
Karn.
Okay, just make sure.
It is
Yep,
spelled
Karn.
with a CH
Yep,
in Jay's
Karn.
defense.
Yeah. So Karn, if it wasn't for Karn Scannetti's blatant regard for the town's safety and making a muck outside the ritual, we wouldn't have had to ask them to leave and sent half our group out there to deal with them, which we could have used in the ritual. We're capable enough to protect, hence the job was done, but at a cost. And as Moa lifts up his left bandaged arm. We got the job done, but I suffered damage because of you and the rumor mills and untrustworthiness in this Scarnetti family tree. If they didn't cause problems, there wouldn't have been any issues for the group, for the church, for the town, and for me. Now, I have a long recovery, which I'm going to be out, possibly not adventuring for a while because of it. Because of direct actions and prejudices in this town and individuals. Compensation from them definitely needs to be towards the council, to the church, and even myself for the time that I'm left out. What about those questions? Actions of consequences, you're telling us. What about them? Their actions to cause problems in this town and to prevent this ritual and the harm it's caused. The Father Xantus and this group is trying to protect this town as much as they can. And I see the only ones causing harm are the Scannettis and the bunch of ravenous rumor mills of the town that they have beside them. So, you want my side of the story? It lines up with everything that's been said so far, except it would have gone better if people didn't stick their nose where it wasn't needed and causing problems for the town and getting people hurt, as he lifts his left hand up again.
So, the first thing I want you to do is I want you to make an intimidation check.
Badass, dude. Badass.
And we're going to
dude.
see how well your public impugning of the Scarnati name goes.
Is it a deception or an intimidation?
It's an intimidation.
Okay. All right. We're gonna.
This is not the big roll for the six.
No problem. It's a 21. It's a 21.
Okay. DC was 20.
All right.
Oh,
So, You
very
do.
scary.
You have, on the heels of just all of these successes that are happening, people are more willing in this forum, kind of that safety in numbers thing, to kind of acknowledge, the Scarnatis are a bit of a problem. And you see Titus Scarnati shifting uncomfortably on the council, but he does not speak. Now, as for your overall speech,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be honest. There was some diplomacy in there. There was some intimidation, and there was a bit of deception.
Oh my god, what a soup.
So I'm going to let you decide which of those you want to lean on and make your roll.
You said diplomacy, intimidation, or deception, correct?
Correct.
I would want to use deception just because of it's a higher number. But I guess he wasn't trying to, the goal wasn't to intimidate, it was trying to provide the group with the information and single individuals out. So part of me is kind of like would want to roll either society or diplomacy, even though they're lower numbers, because the deception, he was being deceptive, but he wasn't really trying to. He was trying to be in that influence, I guess.
Well, like I said, you kind of touched in all three of those areas, so it's whichever one you feel is more what Moa's intent was.
All right. Can I need to use a domain dice, please, because that roll just does not. Yeah, I got an 11. So
Total?
I would total.
Okay. Remember, you have a bonus success too.
Oh, let me phrase that. It would have been 10 because I have a -1. But because I want to hit this home, because I really, really want to hit this home.
Do it.
I rolled an 18 on the die, -1, so it's going to be a 22 for my diplomacy.
Pretty fucking good, bro.
And it's I only have a +5 on my diplomacy, so which my deception is hell of a lot.
That is a success.
Oh, batting 1,000. Actually, we're batting like 1,250 because we're one above what we should have been because of the bonus. And anyway, never mind. Sorry.
So, you notice, all of you, throughout all of your testimonies, the tide in the town begins to shift. Suspicion becomes consideration. Fear cools into thought. Even Karn Scarnetti, arms crossed, narrows his eyes, but keeps his mouth shut. As the last of you finish, no one speaks. Then, Mayor Deverin rises to her feet. Well, you've all heard it. From those who were there. Is there anyone who would still question Councilman Xanthus's intentions or insist that this matter deserves further action? She sweeps her gaze across the crowd and across the council. You see Karn shifting slightly, his jaw tight, but he still says nothing. Several of his supporters glance to him, then back at the mayor, uncertain, but none of them interject. Even Titus Scarnetti, who's leaned forward like a wolf waiting for a stumble, slowly leans back in his chair with a scowl, lips pressed thin. If he's impressed, he doesn't show it. But his silence speaks louder than words. Mayor Deverin nods, satisfied. Then I thank you all for your time and your trust. Councilman, Father, Xanthus, you are free to continue your duties. This meeting is adjourned. She brings the gavel down and the sound rings throughout the hall. There is a pause before the murmurs return. This time quieter, less angry. Someone gives a light clap. A few others join in. One of the townsfolk nods towards you with genuine gratitude, and you all can feel the shift, not just in the room, but in the way the townsfolk see you now. Even Titus, from across the chamber, watches you leave with a frown that doesn't quite hide his reluctant respect. You have gained 1 reputation point with every faction in Sandpoint.
Oh.
Even the Scarnettis will think twice before underestimating you again.
Oh, hell yeah, let's go. The Scarnettis didn't like that.
And with that, we're going to go ahead and take a break. This is exactly at the perfect break time.
Nice.
But you guys hit the condition of success that was everybody succeeds. I had prepared for everybody succeeds. Everybody but one of you succeeds. Some of you but more than half succeeds. Less than half succeeds, and no one succeeds. There was entire outcomes that were prepared for every eventuality. So
we did it.
You got the best ending. You can replay again on another replay. You can try for a worse ending. But we're gonna go ahead and if I can get this to work, we're going to take about a 10-minute break, and we'll see you on the other side. And we're back. So there's the initial I guess as we open back up, as we come back from a commercial break, it's the exterior night Sandpoint Town Hall. People are milling about all around in the streets, talking. There's your typical groups of people that are standing around smoking pipes, cigars, etc. People are some people have begun to walk either to their homes or to various points of restaurants or entertainment. But there's a pretty significant crowd that is initially waiting for all of you to come out from the town hall. But before you do, the council sort of say a few greetings, or rather, not greetings.
Farewells.
Farewells. It's like, wait, what's the opposite of
the
greeting?
opposite of greetings.
I literally couldn't think. I was about to say the opposite of greeting.
No, be alone.
They say their farewells, but Titus Scarnetti doesn't talk to anybody. In fact, as he gathers his things and quickly walks out, he doesn't even speak to Karn, who has to suddenly... He, like, Karn turns to talk to Titus, and then realizes that he has kept going, and all of a sudden Karn has to quickly scramble to catch up to him as they head outside. Father Xantus and Mayor Deverin linger a bit, and they both come over to your group. And Mayor Deverin, there's a couple of people that are still lingering sort of in the town hall area, and Mayor Deverin just kind of looks over at them and just kind of does one of these. Just a slight shift in posture, and they get the hint, and they leave. She turns to all of you and to Father Xantus, and she just says, Thank you. Thank you all for humoring this town and this council, but I think you did excellent tonight, and I think that the town is satisfied for now. Well, I should say I think that most of the town is satisfied. Titus Scarnetti is absolutely not satisfied, and I don't know what he's up to, but I believe he has an agenda beyond protecting the people from evil spirits. I don't think he's going to stop being a thorn in your side, Abstelar. But, and she kind of looks specifically at Millie. Rumor has it that you all are doing quite well at handling some of the lesser Scarnettis.
Oh, the whisper campaign, bro. You're such a stud.
So if you don't mind my asking, since you've already been involved in one scandal for today, what are you planning on doing next so that I might prepare myself?
Getting drunk?
I was planning on going for drinks, yes.
Well, you and half the town, I meant in the coming days.
Our next business takes us, I believe, to the pit outside of town. We were hoping to spend the next few days researching, knowing what dangers we might face there before we head that way.
Her eyes actually widen a bit when you say that you're going to the pit. Well, be careful and take care. The pit is a far cry from a safely conducted ritual on hallowed ground, after all.
Of course.
But I do feel confidence in you all. And I should be clear that it was not my confidence that had wavered or been subject to scrutiny for any of you.
Oh, don't worry. If the going gets tough, we've got a word.
A word.
A word to signal that we're in over our heads and need to back off and regroup.
Oh, you mean like a safe word?
Yes, a safe word. It's pork chop.
She actually laughs.
Oh.
Something tells me you came up with that, Miss Millie.
I can't recall.
Yes, I believe it was Millie.
Well, I don't know about the rest of you, but I've had enough excitement for tonight, and you know what? I think a few drinks might be in order for myself. I bid you all good night and good luck. And she sort of, she doesn't really bow, but she kind of just puts her hands together and gives you sort of a final thank you, as she turns and leaves. Well, I for one have had enough excitement as well, and I will not be partaking in excessive drinking. And she kind of looks at Lumi and says, I would prefer not to know exactly what you all get up to over the next few hours, but I must return to the cathedral. And unless anybody has anything for Xantus, he's going to leave.
As Xantus... Well, as after he... Actually, no. That's it. Yeah, nothing.
Okay, well, what y'all want to do?
Like, well, what about the Rusty Dragon?
Good first stop.
And I think Velynia shrugs and be like, it's as good as any place, I suppose. And I start to head out.
Is anybody not going to the Rusty Dragon?
Oh, I definitely have to go. I have to apologize to the Bethana.
So I think as you all are sort of walking for the exits and you say, how about the Rusty Dragon? We'll do a match cut as you guys walk out the front door of the town hall, and we cut to you walking into the doors of the Rusty Dragon. Suffice it to say that there were a crowd of people waiting for you all. There was a small smattering of applause. Though Karn nor Titus Scarnetti were not anywhere visible, some of Karn's supporters were sort of sulking off in the corner by an alleyway, only noted by the orange glow on their face as they smoked. But as you all turn and start heading across town towards the Rusty Dragon, they do not follow. And so you are in the Rusty Dragon. As you enter, it's fairly crowded, but Bethana has kept a table reserved for you all just in case. And when you enter, there's again a small smattering of huzzah and people raising their glasses to you all as you enter. At least, if only for tonight, people's spirits have been raised and they are actually excited to see you all.
I would lean to Millie on the way in and be like, well, the masses are nothing if not fickle.
Oh, isn't that a fact? But look on the bright side. We might get some free drinkies out of it tonight, huh?
And Velynia kind of chuckles and nods.
And Millie turns to Natalin and says, my goodness, you really let them have it.
Yes, Natalin, that was incredible.
I think as soon as you turned and mentioned it to Natalin, Natalin's face kind of goes beet red. Her head ducks down. She goes, she looks mortified, really. I don't know what came over me.
It was the rage, dear. It was the rage.
I'm so sorry. I did not mean to lose my temper like that.
Don't apologize for it. I got a bingo square.
Yes. Natalin, I think bottling up your emotions isn't healthy. Letting them out every so often it's what we do. It's human.
She nods, but you can tell that she doesn't look convinced by what you're saying. If you excuse me, I must go talk to Bethana. And she kind of gives you like a head. She's at this point, she's not even looking at you guys in the eye at the moment. She feels very unsettled, I think, and she just kind of nods and then turns and goes into the back to try and find Bethana.
Well, Millie, do you want to grab us a table? Moa and I can order the drinks at the bar and we'll bring them over.
That sounds like a fine idea. Oh, it looks like Bethana might have saved one for us. Look at that.
Nice. So it's reserved. That's awesome. Like, perfect. Well, Moa, come with me. We'll carry the drinks. You know, I can get 3 of them. And is Lumi with us? Did we decide?
I don't know of any reason why Lumi wouldn't be, but I think
I can think of one reason why she might not.
Yeah, there is one reason. So
yeah, I can think of one too.
Actually 2 reasons.
I think, as is typical when somebody's not here, we'll just let Lumi slip into the background because I don't want to force Lumi into a scene that she might not actually have been present for.
Perfect. So I would say Velynia would invite Moa over to the bar and be like, you can help me with the drinks and you know, because I have 2 hands and you have 2. Oh,
I have 2 hands as well. One might be slightly damaged right now, but it's still there.
Is it working? Is it working?
Well, I haven't tested it lately. I'll ask some pixie kittens later, maybe, but see if it is.
I punch him in the stomach, kind of like lightly, but at the same time, like just a little, like a kid's sister would, and just to knock his wind out a little bit. And I'm like, how about you just help me carry the drinks? We'll call that the test.
Yes, of course, no problem.
And yeah, I go and I imagine by now Velynia knows what everybody gets, and so Velynia would go up and order for everybody. And bring them help with Moa's help. Bring them back to the table that was reserved.
All right, well,
like, I do think that the tide shifted. I have to agree with. Did we get free drinks? Anybody offer us freebies?
Everybody, roll me a. Let's do this.
I have alcohol lore.
Let's do.
My society's good.
Since you asked, roll a D100. Cari.
Me? Okay. I will. Oh god. Oh shit. Throwing dice all over the place. Sorry. Hold on. It is 30. Just straight 30.
You have free drinks all night long. I rolled a 30 as well. I don't know when the last time that's happened, but
that's unreal.
all around the Rusty Dragon tonight, people are buying you rounds.
Oh my god, that's amazing. That's
if
awesome.
you even try to pay for drinks, nobody will let you.
No. That's awesome, dude. I love it. Hell yeah. So yeah, I would happily partake. Maybe get some cheese blossoms.
Moa is nursing. He's not heavy drinking right now. He's nursing, but kind of, yeah. He's at different times will pretend he is a good drunk.
I'm drinking moderately. I'm not gonna get like bombed, but I am. I'm drinking more than I would typically.
I think
to say hardly any.
Yeah, I think Natalin, shockingly, like when she's come back, after talking to Bethana, she comes back, and I think she just kind of grabs one of the drinks and kind of tosses it back, and coughs a little bit because she doesn't drink really. And I think for the rest of the night, you see Natalin just kind of like drink after drink. She's putting them back. Yeah, she's not gonna feel good tomorrow morning.
I would lean into Natalin at one point and I'd be like, dear, you know you're supposed to have the liquid courage before you make any big speeches, right?
She just kind of looks at you like her eyes are already kind of swirling. Liquid courage? What?
And I, at this point, I would just kind of pat Natalin on the back and be like,
Cheers!
wait, cheers to you. And I would say,
Yes.
we'll talk about it another time, dear. Enjoy. And I think Velynia is just kind of looking around and trying to soak in this moment of like really, really being accepted in this place.
Knowing it won't last.
Kind of. Just sort of like noticing, like just feeling it and trying to take it in.
So, Natalin, you said you were going to seek out Bethana?
Yeah, it's nothing really important. She would just wanted to like apologize to Bethana and basically tell her like, I'm sorry for that, and I hope my outburst doesn't affect poorly your business. And she's just basically gonna, apologize and all that stuff to her.
Bethana standing up on her, she's got this behind the bar. There's like an extra, almost like a battlement on a fortified wall. She has this platform she can step up onto to, see over the bar, and she looks around at the place that the Rusty Dragon is more crowded than it has been in quite a while. So many people are buying you all drinks that you haven't even been served all of the drinks yet that you're being bought, that are being bought for you. As she says, "Oh dear, if this is the result of you having outbursts, I might have to start kicking you in the shin just to get you yell in the street more." And she does
the shocked look on Natalin's face, like, what?
She does sincerely reach over and she puts her hand on the back of your hand, just places her hand over your hand, and she says, "You have nothing to apologize for, dear."
And I think that's why when Natalin comes back, she like tosses back a drink because first she's very uncomfortable. This place is very big. That went over weirdly. She's not sure, but Bethana kind of soothed her soul a little bit. And so she's kind of like overcompensating by drinking. And I think, yeah, we get to see the whole ray of emotions as Natalin gets into her cups. At one point, I think she's crying on the table. Just sobbing.
She's an
Oh
emotional drunk.
my dear. Are you all right? Millie whips a hanky out of her apron pocket.
Yeah, and I
From
think
nowhere.
Natalin would grab it, do that loud, noise as she's like blowing her nose in it. I just miss her so much, and then falls back on the table.
Your father, dear. We never knew.
I always had to keep it quiet. Nobody wanted to know. Nobody wanted to remember. And then she just, bursts into tears again.
Why are we playing Red Dead music?
It's
Never.
not.
It's the emotional music for this game.
I know. I have a tavern.
I kind of love this though. It fits in a weird
I have a tavern
way.
playlist that every time you guys go to the Rusty Dragon or another tavern, I just hit the tavern button, and it is a shorter playlist, but I kind of think of it like
I think this one
You're-
came on when I was having my heart-to-heart with
I was gonna say,
Natalin.
it's-
it's
I mean,
Natalin's theme.
Have you ever been in a bar having a serious conversation with somebody when the most ridiculous song?
Way down yonder on the Chattanooga.
And that's probably what happens, and it kicks Natalin out of the whatever funk that she had temporarily been in, and she hears the music and she just
is
starts
there
getting up.
dancing? Is
Yes,
there
I was just
dancing at the
well,
Rusty Dragon
If
tonight?
there wasn't, there is now because Natalin
Fuck
gets up. and
yes,
Speaking of Red
dude.
Dead, this is like the mission where
Lenny!
Arthur and Lenny
hear
go out
banjo-
drinking.
I hear
What-
banjo, and I either go to Red Dead or Last of Us.
It's one of my
Ooh,
favorite missions in that game. It's just that montage of Lenny and Arthur getting drunker and drunker. Lenny! And there's dancing in that montage as well.
It's the best.
I believe, Moa, you have something you want to do before the end of this evening. You're
It
muted.
was so as the evening goes, if there's anything else happening at the Rusty Dragon, but before like midnight, before like the last hour or so before call on some of the taverns, Moa kind of gets up, leans over to Velynia and is like, I'm in the mood to go to the feed bag and have another drink.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Feed bag.
Feed
Oh,
bag.
I'm in the mood. Is that what you said?
I'm in the, he leans
Sorry.
over,
I'm sorry. What I heard was you leaned over to Velynia and said, I'm in the nude.
Or if he just left it at "I'm in the mood,"
And
that's another.
I mean,
Yeah.
either one. But I'm sorry, but the fact that nobody else was reacting to that, I needed
Velynia looks
clarification.
over and then looks down and goes, "By the cult you are."
no, she's like, both like, I'm in the mood to go to the a feed bag and cause a little chaos. Want to join me? Leave your weapons at home.
Chaos.
15 minutes. We got another drink, of course. And maybe a little chaos.
I'll tell you what. You cause the chaos. I'll pull your dumbass out of it when you inevitably get into trouble.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
And I wink and I extend him my glass.
Same. Finish the cup. He goes up. He's gonna leave and drop all of his stuff, except for a few coins, upstairs in his room. And then
As we're headed out. Oh, I'm sorry.
no,
first.
go ahead. No, I was gonna say, depending on where you, because he's like, leave your weapons at home.
Yeah, I would lean to Millie and I would say, actually, no, I was gonna say this earlier, but I forgot. Velynia doesn't have her weapons with her. She came straight from the docks, and so she doesn't have any weapons. She just is not even like in her armor, so she's just herself.
Okay.
And I think as Moa and Velynia are leaving the bar, one thing that is echoing in Velynia's head is a part of what Natalin said when Natalin was talking about Lumi. And like, what a good person and what a good friend, and just what a glowing example of what a person of Sandpoint should be. And that is kind of replaying in her head as she and Moa are essentially going to go intentionally get into trouble. And she sees Lumi maybe there, like in the bar one last time before she like turns the corner and walks off into the night with Moa.
And yeah, if there's nothing else, Moa and Bale heads to.
As you guys are walking out,
Yeah.
you hear Millie talking to the smaller crowd, but the crowd that's still in the dragon. Oh, who here knows that song about Kate and Killian that Barty Manilow did? Let's sing.
His name was Cade, and you hear it echoing down the street from the glowing windows of the Rusty Dragon. That's the best, dude. I love a good callback.
Nice. And I get after the short walk down to the feed bag, Moa goes in acting drunk.
And
I would completely slurring words and body language.
I would go in about a minute and a half after him to make it seem like we're not together. And I would go over and sit at the bar and order myself a drink, something light. And I would kind of sit at the bar backwards, like with my back on the bar, and just sort of kind of get ready. I reach over to the like almonds and peanuts or whatever's on the bar, and I just start eating them. And I'm kind of watching Moa, just getting ready for the show.
Moa like finds a seat. What's the mood in the feed bag? Considering this is, you know, a good establishment for certain individuals.
So, give me a second here.
I believe the in the source material, the feed bag is a little bit of a more rundown establishment. But hey, while Jake looks that up, why don't you check us out at redbubble.com? At redbubble.com, we got all kinds of great t-shirts like the one I'm wearing and all kinds of other cool logos. Is the Splorch one on there on Redbubble?
No, but we were talking ahead of time.
Ooh.
We were talking before the stream. I was saying perhaps I need to bring Splorch back.
Gotta bring Splorch back. Anyway, when he does, check us out on redbubble.com because you can get that logo on t-shirts, tank tops, hoodies, mugs, stickers, postcards, notebooks, and all kinds of other cool stuff. There's almost always a deal at redbubble.com, especially if it's your first time. So go on over there and check us out. Again, that was redbubble.com. Just search Mini Terrain Domain.
So, this is important as you're walking in and taking a seat. Behind the bar is none other than Jabrail Visky, the one who was specifically questioning you on the council.
Oh, yeah.
Not only that, you notice that while especially compared to the raucous nature of the Rusty Dragon, it's relatively quiet here. But that's mostly because there are groups of people in whispered conversation or keeping their voices down. But you also notice that there's about a dozen of Karn Scarnetti's closest
God. Oh, God.
Companions seated at various tables. And this is one of one of those joints that when you walk in, the two of you walk in, it's very much the piano player stops playing, the record scratches, and you hear a few chairs sort of the wood on wood squeaking as they turn, and everybody turns to look at you as you enter.
And Moa, as this happens, she looks like, and she kind of looks with this face, like drunk face on. Well, I'll be. Hello, everyone. Time for some drinks, I guess. And
I am still standing outside when I hear him talking like this. I'm like,
and I kind of stumble over to a seat, going, "Two, please. Let's get this drinking going again." Oh, hey! I saw you tonight.
I go in a minute and a half later, and I go over to the bar where I just acknowledge. I'm like, "Oh, Councilman Visky," and I would order a drink for myself. That's when that happens. Is he tending bar, or is he just back there?
He's tending bar.
Cool. And I order a drink.
You see that as you sidle up to the bar, he's sort of got both hands. His sleeves are rolled up. He's got a towel over his shoulder. And he was in conversation with somebody who he very quickly, as you approach, you just he whispers, "Beat it." And the individual quickly grabs their drink and gets up. You order a drink and Jabrail looks at you. He turns. He grabs a bottle from the top shelf.
Ooh.
He sets 2 glasses down on the bar. And he pours them. Sets the bottle down on the bar. Pushes one over to you. Picks up his glass and holds it up to you.
What's
He
the
doesn't-
occasion?
He doesn't say a word. He just clinks your glass, taps the bar top with the glass, and throws it back.
And this is good shit. And Velynia hasn't had good shit in a very long time. And I would kind of just, at this point, continue to just chill at the bar and keep a very surreptitious eye on Moa.
Moa's puts his one leg up on a chair. He's got the drink in his good hand. His other hand's just kind of sitting there on the chairs, kind of, and waiting for the music to start again.
I think after Jabrail shares a drink with Velynia, he looks around the room. He looks over at the piano player, gives a nod. Piano player turns. The music starts up again, a little slow, and then starts to pick up. People are still staring, and then he just goes, and everybody turns back to what they were doing. Jabrail looks at you, Velynia. He grabs that top shelf bottle, pours another for you, sets the bottle down and pushes it toward you, and turns and walks away.
Oh my god. Okay, wow. Okay. So I just kind of like have it in my hand. And I think Velynia she's a little bit fuzzy after drinking at the Rusty Dragon and now coming here. So she's drinking slowly, but she has this bottle in her hand, and my god, if there is any window of opportunity at all, she's stealing this shit. Stealing it or accepting a gift. I can't decide what this actually was.
So
did it seem like he was giving me the bottle?
This
or,
was
like, as a,
this was a leave the bottle.
help yourself while you're...
Yeah, it's kind of the equivalent of, hey, give me a whiskey, leave the bottle. Instead of that, he just sort of leaves the bottle for you. It's not like necessarily a take this with you kind of gift. But whatever, he left the bottle for you to drink as much as you wanted, so do what you will with it.
Nice. Awesome. Okay.
Moa's drinking good for about the, 30 minutes, kind of 20 to 30 minutes go by, and he's making some occasional loud, not too loud, but loud, like not yelling, but loud enough of like, man, Scarnetti got his ass just wiped tonight. Yeah, Kaeryn. Oh, just, man, townspeople think of him differently. His dad even shunned him. Wow. Oh, but anyways, party tonight, isn't it? and purposely trying to like get
Needle
under
them.
the skin of the Scarnetti group of close associates.
So proud of you. Such a
What?
rabble rouser.
Is the... I can't remember those. Make an impression in all of those. Where's that list? Does somebody remember that list? What
That
falls under?
that is actually diplomacy for
Not
for-
just make an impression, but there was a list of those type of things, and I can't remember.
I don't remember where it was. No. But I know what you're talking about. It's like in the source material under persuasion. Or diplomacy, rather.
trying to think.
Tamiko, if you're here and if you're talking, we can't hear you.
Oh,
How about now?
Yes,
Yes.
I was just saying, where are you? What are you guys looking for?
I'm looking for
Where-
just the general list of stuff. Make it. Oh, I guess that's it. It's just was one of the. I found it as I was talking through it under the GM screen on the archive. I'm trying to figure out what it is, what skill for you to use as you're trying to. You know what? This is a performance check. Is that a thing?
Yeah, it
performance
is.
is yeah.
Yeah, there it is. This is absolutely a performance because you are trying to goad people.
You're not as drunk as you're letting on, and
Exact-
you're being a dick on purpose.
Yeah, and I'm gonna. That's a 23 with an 18 on the dice.
Try as you might. Nobody is taking the bait.
Okay, that's good to know.
And I would like you and Velynia both to make a sense motive check.
Sense motive is not a thing.
It's a perception, and you keep saying it's
Perception.
not a thing, but it is a thing.
It is a thing. It
Mhm.
is. I apologize. It is. It's
Every
just
time
not-
I've said sense motive, you say it's not a thing.
It's not a skill. I'm sorry.
It's not a
It's
skill, but it is an action that you can
correct.
do.
Yes. 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 I got 30.
I got a 25. My dice are on fire tonight.
Both of you get the impression that on any other night, one or both of you would already be flying through the front window of this place.
Would we? No.
But you are pretty confident that the inhabitants of this particular establishment are under some sort of orders or demonstrating restraint. They have been told not to engage with you.
That's good to know, because at about the after realizing the 25 minutes go by, Moa gets his another drink, kind of gets up, stumbles over to a table, clearly with individuals that might, and trips and spills his drink on someone and starts
Oh
patting
my
it.
God.
Oh, that was so clumsy of me. And then wicks his hand and bashes someone into the shoulder that's sitting next to him. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm just a clumsy drunk, they say. Oh, let me pay for that. And he grabs a chunk of one of the person's food. Is these the hot wings? Oh, man. And then just kind of drops them. Oh, and then wipes his hand of stickiness on the other person.
Velynia thinks about stepping in, but she decides that Moa needs one good shot in the mouth just so he can feel alive. And then, so she's sitting back for a little while yet, just to, see how this plays
And
out.
Moa's waiting for someone to stand up before he punches someone.
So, I will tell you
Oh, actually, I'll take that back. But yeah.
Nobody is taking the bait. You definitely see that people want to. I'm going to tell you right now.
Okay.
That Moa. Alright, that one's. So, as everybody gained reputation with all of the factions in town from your interaction earlier. Hold on, my browser's acting weird. All of you gained reputation with every single one of the factions. Moa, you have lost reputation with the Bunyip Club.
Got it.
Oh god, the fucking Bunyip Club.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Everybody,
So,
the party and your individual reputation currently stands unaffected, but Moa specifically, his actions tonight are, you definitely, Velynia, can see with that 30 you rolled, as Moa continues trying to goad people into a fight. Nobody's going to do anything. Whoever's told them not to has either paid them enough or threatened them enough.
Mm-hmm.
But you can also see the looks on the faces of the people that they so desperately want to do something, and they're not going to be on the leash forever.
I signal Jabrail to me, I call him over, and I would just say, if you want him to be taken out of here, I can take care of that for you if I can take this bottle of whiskey.
He doesn't even hesitate. He just looks at you and he just goes, just a jerk of his head towards the door.
I wink at him and I go over to Moa. I'm like,
as you start moving towards Moa stops what he's doing, looks down at both of the table, and just goes, "Cowards," turns around and walks out the door.
oh my god. And I follow you out. And I think Moa is probably walking pretty fast. And I think Velynia kind of...
Just normal stride.
Velynia does, because she kind of watches him go, expecting to... She was kind of gearing up to have to drag him out of here. She watches him go, and then 30 seconds after he walks out the front, Velynia comes stumbling out with this bottle of whiskey in her hand. And she, jogs a couple of steps to catch up to you, and she's like, Moa! I mean, how long was it going to take you before you realized they weren't going to take your bait? You're going to get a blade in the gut in an alley one of these nights. You do realize you're just banking away anger with them. They're just going to let it sit in their stomach until they spill your guts somewhere.
They can try. And it just gives me motivation for something later. You get the bottle, didn't you?
Yes.
Let's go have a drink. And it almost looks like Moa completely planned that entire encounter for you to get an entire free bottle of whiskey.
That's amazing, dude. Oh my god.
And he's like, do I get a sip? And his attitude is completely changed. He takes a drink. Damn good stuff. Oh, I knew he kept the good stuff on the top. Gives it back and it's like, let's go. And his attitude completely has changed. He's not sober, or he's not drunk, he's not sober, but he's just in a good mood.
And for somebody who prides herself on understanding people and what makes them tick and being able to always predict someone's next move, Moa'Kee has surprised Velynia tonight.
And there is a glimmer of his intelligence, of how intelligent Moa is and how calculated actually is. And calculated every step of the entire night and was like, yep. So
incredible. Awesome.
Back to the Rusty Dragon.
So eventually your night winds down and you all retire to your various rooms for rest. Moa, normally I don't feel like I have to ask this for everybody else, but for you I need to ask. Are you sleeping in your own bed tonight?
That's a good question. I think he is.
Okay.
Is sleeping in his room, in his bed tonight, because he has a task that he wants to do tomorrow morning.
Okay.
I will throw it out there. This is the one time you should ask if Natalin is sleeping in her bed tonight.
Oh, really?
Because
Natalin.
apparently she's passed out at the table and isn't going anywhere of her own volition.
I'm going to be honest. I think unless somebody else does something about it, Beth Anna has... First of all, she's too small to be able to really do much. But you're not the first person to pass out at a table. She just leaves a few candles lit. But she wouldn't
put a
disturb
do not
you.
disturb sign on your back.
She just used that reserved sign from before, and it's like a little triangle, like a tent, and she just put it on your head.
So yeah, I mean, unless anybody else intervenes, she would just leave you passed out at the table. Moa.
Yes.
You did that thing. Long break. Moa.
Hold on, let me... Moa. You are falling. The air is thick and sour, heavy with the stink of blood, rust, and wet stone. You never heard the edge give way. One step and the world tilted. Now you fall into blackness without end. The deep hole yawning wide like a laughing mouth beneath you. There is no wind, no sound, just the thrum of something ancient pulsing far below. A heartbeat, not yours. You strike the ground with no pain, no impact, just arrival. You stand in a corridor of slick, vein-like tunnels. The walls breathe. They're made of muscle and meat, twitching at your presence. The torches are fingers. Long, pale fingers that sprout from the ceiling and curl into flame at your passing. You know this place, though you've never walked it. It's below the world, below Sandpoint, below all things. The dungeon that dreams monsters. You move forward, though you don't remember choosing to. Your footsteps echo like bone striking bone. With every step, the corridor bends a little more. The angle's wrong, like someone trying to draw a maze without ever lifting their hand. At first, you think you're alone. And then you hear it, skittering. Not behind you, not ahead of you, inside you. The sound of something moving between your bones, tracing the length of your arm. You raise your hand trembling and see your fingers stretching longer, joint by joint. A new knuckle blooms like a tumor. The nail turns black and splits into claws. You try to scream, but your mouth is full of teeth that aren't yours. You stumble into a chamber. The walls are mirrors, but none reflect you. They show versions of you, taller, broader, wrong, monstrous. One has too many fingers, twitching and reaching for unseen things. Another crouches over a cradle made of ribs. One version of you stares back, grinning, as Lamashtu's brand glows like a sun on his forehead. He raises his hand, and yours rises with him. You touched her, he whispers. She touched you back. The sound of claws on stone behind you, the rasp of 1,000 fingernails. You turn slowly. There she stands. Lamashtu. A towering silhouette of birth and nightmare, her face shifting, a shifting mosaic of beasts, her belly swollen and rippling, alive with movement. Eyes blink from within. Hands press against the inside of her flesh, like unborn things eager to escape. You carry my mark, sweetling. Her voice is like blood dripping into water. The first of many. Your hand moves, again, not yours anymore, and scratches a symbol into your chest. You try to stop it. You try. But all you can do is watch as more fingers sprout from your palm, weaving the sign of the Beast Mother, knotting it into your flesh. She laughs. You will make such beautiful children. The walls collapse, the mirrors shatter, and the hands reach for you, dozens, hundreds, and they are all yours. You wake up suddenly. You're soaked in sweat. Your breathing is ragged. Your left hand is cramping, curled into a claw. You instinctively try to flex your fingers, and one of them bends the wrong way. And you swear you see a face smiling at you from beneath. And that is where we're going to end tonight's session.
Oh my god! The finger wrong way. That was the
of all of that stuff.
God,
and listen,
the body.
I want it to be made clear
horror.
because I see the hand stuff in the chat all over the place.
I see you fuckers.
I'm not the one that reached across the veil. Jay is.
Yeah.
So you know that I had to go all in on the hand stuff.
Oh yeah, hashtag hand stuff. It is his fault.
Yep.
It's Moa's fault.
Oh my god. That was great.
That was good.
The line good. that kind of I liked but just creeped me out when it's just you try to scream but your mouth is full of teeth that aren't yours. That makes my teeth hurt.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. You guys did excellent in your before the student council. that would be the kids
before
at Paradise
Brittany
Academy.
decided to abolish all the candy machines.
You did excellent before the town council, at least for tonight. Who knows how much longer? There's a bit of a reprieve in town that nobody's taken the bait in your attempted antagonization.
Oh my god.
It's gonna really kick you when I tell you missed the DC by 2.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I wasn't prepared for it, but I was bracing for a bar fight. But yeah, this was our penultimate session. Next Monday will be our final session before the break in July. Just a reminder, our last session of Welcome to Paradise, Michigan. Kids on Bike Scheme is this Thursday before the break as well. So this is your perfect time to catch up on all the VODs on youtube.com/miniature-rain-domain. Thank you to everybody who subbed, resub bits, towards 7210, resub for 23 months. Thanks to Scholtens 2 and Myth and Gears for the bits.
That's me.
and Hawkmere for those 5 community subs, which were directly benefiting me for the
One more time, Jim, from the bottom of my heart, go fuck yourself.
and it, yeah, all that good stuff. We always appreciate that. Thank you everybody hanging out in chat. And if you are somebody that likes to lurk quietly, or maybe you're watching with us on the VOD later, just know that we appreciate you and hope you enjoy our shows as well. And of course, as always, a huge thank you to these amazing players. And just another little extra shout out to Kaeryn for Natalin's impassioned speech.
Dude.
The MVP, the
For
highlight
real,
of the
for real.
night, highlight moment of the night. But seriously, thank you.
I will say also, Jay's speech was
Yeah.
damn good.
Yeah,
It was
Jay-
very lawyerly, really shutting off.
Jay
all
got
the
up there
loopholes.
like a Southern lawyer and called out the Scarnettis and
I'm a simple man. I don't claim to know everything about Sandpoint, but
I grew up here and I see shit. I see shit.
I see shit. I know your family and your family.
ooh, look at that, stop yawning, jeez. In no way an indictment of this game. It's the heat. It is ridiculously hot here in Michigan right now. So anyway, a huge thank you as always to you amazing players, Kaeryn, Tamiko, Cari, Jay, and though she was not with us tonight, she was most definitely with us in spirit, Vi, without whom this would have just been me talking to myself for a couple hours. With that, we're going to go ahead and end this stream the same way we end every stream, and you can say it with me if you want.
Always the hand stuff.